All right. So I just did my first impression of the Matrix Resurrection, and there were some other things in the film that I wanted to get into, but spoilers kind of thing. And actually thinking about it, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload this video first, but unlisted. Once this video is done, I'm going to do this tomorrow night while I'm in town and there's better signal. This video will upload first, be unlisted, and linked through the description of the other video. Because this one not only has some spoilers, but contains some concepts that I simply don't want to be searchable in the algorithm of their tags and whatnots. Now, here's the thing. First thing I want to discuss before I let this slip my mind. Way back in the day. We're talking 2005 to 2008. I was active on a forum called Above Top Secret. I don't remember what my username was. I don't remember most of the conversations that I had there. What I do remember is a particular thread or article that had a description of a thing that I was experiencing at that time. And the thing that I was experiencing at that time that is described in this article that is probably impossible to find now, but if the guy was talking about Matrix and he was using the term agents, maybe you know what I'm talking about, maybe you don't. What I believe it actually refers to, for the most part, is what could be called guardian alters. These are the worldview defenders. I've spoken on these before. The rapid onset of this seeming alter ego, as if an agent had pulled out through you and taken you over in order to defend your worldview, that is to say, to preserve the Matrix. Between emotionally abusive households in secret, the rampant narcissism of our entire planetary cultures, all of them, the society, everything is so self-centered. There are secret backstories to every household. Every single one of them has got, there is no happy Donna Reed and freaking Dick Van Dyke households. Every child that grows up, that comes up, is in one of these situations, whether it's a divorce between two households, different sets of rules between parents, whether it is we have different rules in the house than society has outside the house to an extreme degree. We have, you don't tell anyone about the way I act in here, and we smile when we go outside. You know what happens if you act up, right? Lots of different ways that kids come up with the split psyche. This does not result in schizophrenia, which literally means split mind. Schizophrenia is when think like magnetic poles, or you've got like these brain function generators, right? And they're virtual, and there's like 6 of them. And things get knocked out of line by messed up circumstances in life, brain trauma, all kinds of things. When those are out of tune, not resonating with each other, that's schizophrenia. They've actually proven this. You've got consciousness centers or whatever, there are these key factors that get out of whack. And when they are out of whack, you start having things where you can audibly, verbally in your mind hear something your brain is trying to communicate from one hemisphere to the other or something, and it's not supposed to be anything you can hear, but you can hear it. Dissociative identity is different. Dissociative identity is when, under certain circumstances, stress triggers or whatever, an alter ego assumes control of your person. It may or may not be aware of the fact that this is happening. It may or may not be aware of the fact that it is not the regular you. This develops, among other ways, by things like I previously described. Different rules at school than at home. Even if you're just naturally rebellious and you behave like you have to behave and you talk like you have to talk, and then after that you switch out when you get outside of school. I was like that. sitting in there, yes ma'am, no ma'am, I won't swear, it's good, blah, 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 no, 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 and you get outside, and as soon as you're about 50 feet away from the school, shit fired, cocksucker, motherfucker, you son of a bitch, fuck you, and walk home. Tell me how to talk. This generates the split. We don't even realize it. So maybe it's natural, because we all have at least two anyway. Hemispheres, right? But then you have whole brain. You have your lizard brain. You have potentially buried, what you call suppressed memories. There are archetypal overtakes as well when if you reach a point where you're simply psychologically unable to continue, but your body doesn't fail, your mind will just kind of shut off. You kind of, nobody's home, but they don't typically stay catatonic forever. There will be a moment, and then after that, what's called a walk-in may occur, in which case rapidly assembled reformulation of the persona attempts to become. I believe something like this happened to me when I was about 8 years old. And I believe it has happened to me a few other times in life, eventually to the point where I started exploring psychedelics, tripping, altered states of consciousness, and examining the world and the universe around me, seeking enlightenment, etc., that it was initially aggravated, something I had to work on and come to grips with and learn how to reassimilate, basically, aspects of myself so that I would stop being so many different versions of myself, so many different people to others, on a more literal sense. A couple of them were not named Rob. Most of them agreed to be named Rob because it was easier. So the thing with guardian alters is if you trigger someone and you watch their eyes glaze over or change, that's an alter. That, you what? What was it, the SJW mouth where they're like, that face, that's another persona taking over that doesn't have the same kind of facial control that someone who's grown up living in a body does. Consciousness is not what you think it is. I'm not saying we're in the Matrix, plugged in avatars, any of that crap. What I'm saying is that your body is not necessarily your consciousness, even if it either attracts/generates it. Because your body can be traumatized. Your brain can be made to endure certain chemical combinations and sensory experiences that cause it to end the initial consciousness as an escape route. And then naturally, something else is generated. A new being comes in. Some people have this preloaded. The idea of having all of the talking points memorized. We mention something to somebody and they go off like a bot. Predictable, same crap everybody else says, everything else with the so-called NPC behavior. If you ever see it flick on in their eyes, they'll be like, "Wah!" and then just get mad. That's the guardian alter. That is the agent referred to in the, well, partially referred to in the above top secret article that I can no longer find. This was also, though, partially describing another effect that I have interacted with myself, and that is a number of individuals, seemingly unconnected, acting in a standalone, complex kind of way that makes it seem as if there is a concerted effort by a singular person-ish thing that you'll catch the same dirty looks from a bunch of people for no reason. Someone will walk by and say a word to you. I'm sorry, what? They may not even remember having said it because the altar may peek out, spit fire, and come back in. So the idea of their swarm mode, it's very Kingsman, if you've seen clips of that. Or the movie itself or whatever. Apparently it's a book. I haven't read it. Very Kingsman. Very just, everybody attacks. This does not necessarily resemble or refer to the mob mentality per se, but rather the effect of multiple less than fully conscious individuals. I call it a collective subconscious because you have a bunch of subconscious actions that are not necessarily directly under the willful control of the individuals that all seem to act in unison as if they are being controlled by a single thing. And you see a lot of this in the film with the murmurations in the sky, with the squiddies, with the swarm attacks. And of course with the agents themselves. And the whole thing in the movie basically being that the agents in suits was too overt, and it was dangerous and difficult to commandeer real people all the time. So what would happen would be they simply planted bots, agents in plainclothes, living lives, some married to real people, just throughout the Matrix, so that at any given point, probably 2 out of 5 people that you're around are probably agents, kind of thing. And so all of this, like I said, it kind of got me thinking, and I remembered this above top secret thing that somebody was talking about, this effect, and it was like, finally, somebody else is mentioning this thing that I've seen. So anyways, it was very interesting. Not really sure. That was the main thing. There was some other stuff, but like I've said before, I need to see it at least a second time and pay attention to the background stuff now that I understand what's going on, because the plot is not quite so in depth that it's like you need to go back and rewatch it to figure it out. It's fully capable of understanding what's going on the first time through. So the second time you're going to go back through and you're going to rewatch it not for things you missed plot wise, but things you missed in the background. The moon that you were missing out on looking at that pointed finger, right? Bruce Lee. So there's a lot of really interesting stuff like that underlying. I think there was actually a lot of really good symbolic and metaphoric advice on life contained within the way that they shot this film. It's pretty deep. It's pretty cool. I like that. So like I said, in my review of it, my first impression, I can't qualify it exactly. I can say that the first one is definitely the superior film of all of them. But beyond that, I'm not going to say it's as good as or worse than. I'm not there yet. I did want to mention also, I guess, the lead in the film, the one who seems to, I don't know if she advances the plot or not, is the Bugs, the girl with the blue hair. Seems to me that she speaks with an English accent when she's out of the Matrix, but speaks with an American accent when she's in it. I might have just been missing that here and there, but that's what it seemed like. It's a different accent. Her hair color is different. It's just natural black hair in the real world, and of course bright blue in the Matrix. She is definitely of Chinese descent. And I have to wonder, with the whole Red Star Films thing on the end of the credits, and with the Warner Brothers and the overseas sellout and all that, to what extent the influence on the casting of the film and some of these visual cues were intentional by the studio, regardless of what the auteur was going to try and do. That might be something that is worth checking out, a behind-the-scenes DVD, to see what kind of commentary and things are on there. But the other part being, on those kind of releases, something as big as The Matrix, to have somebody put an opinion on matters like that on the commentary, I don't see them allowing that. I can see it ended up being like everyone's expecting the big old special everything, and all they get is a basic, in 6 months it'll be in the $3 bin at Walmart, no features DVD, and that'll be it. I don't know. There's kind of a joke in the Morpheus character in this movie. And all I can really say is that Natalia Semyonova in GoldenEye for Nintendo 64 is a better shot. And it relates because if you play GoldenEye, the parts where Natalia is in the game, what is she? What does she do? So, and I'm not talking the character, I'm talking the 3D model and that which controls it. Yeah. The thing with the swarm mode of the agents was very surreal to have them put that in the film like that. There is another phenomenon that swarm behavior has been seen in. That is what I was in fact experiencing. It was not just guardian altars. So it was very cool and very interesting to see that put into the film. Because all of the people that participate or take part, I should say, with the slightest kind of harassment, stalking, surveillance, simply being a member of the swarm, can 100% feel free to do the thing that they all start to do at the end of the motorcycle chase. Like I said, that ended up being one of my favorite parts of the movie in a really sick way. Just watching it all happen, I was like, yeah, I wanted to see something like that. As an aside, we'll close it out with this, and like I said, I'm keeping this on unlisted and whatever. But and also for the record, if anybody happens to be attempting to clip this, you do not have my permission to clip this video at all. I went to the Chinese buffet restaurant in town, and I had a couple plates and had some tea, and had picked up my steering shaft thing for my truck. So all the parts that I've ordered are now in. And coming out of the restaurant, I noticed a vehicle with business lettering on it. One of the places that I had applied to about a year and a half ago, when I was utterly unable to find work outside of the insufficient funding cab company, and was forced to go back into that, and basically endured what amounts to financial abuse by an employer, dragging you along, threatening not to pay, all kinds of stuff. Give you instructions, and when you do them, they say, that's not what I told you to do. Yeah, it is. I wrote it down. Oops. And when I was in line to get my ticket at the theater, the guy who I'd been into the interview with, who I'd known since the mid-90s, since before the first Matrix came out, I'd known this dude. Personally known him. Who gave me the dumb shrug and the cross eyes, 2020, that guy. Oh, hey, what's up, buddy? How you doing? Hey, I seen you at the restaurant. We ate there, too, and, yeah, now here we are going to see the same movie in the same theater. And I'm like, And that was literally my entire response. And then I bought my ticket, and I went to the bathroom, and I came out and got a soda and some candy and went and got seated in the theater. I wanted to let that piece of shit find a seat first so I could sit anywhere but near him. So he sat near the front, I sat near the back. Thankfully, at the end of the movie, he got up and left before the credits really rolled. I stood and watched him. Turned out there was, in fact, a scene at the end. I don't really understand that part. It's kind of a reference, I think, to it was one of the scenes of the people trying to brainstorm for the new game thing within the movie, and it was the typical corporate idiot roundtable. So at the end of it, they were talking about cat videos. Well, the thing was is that the analyst had a cat. So, maybe it was the idea that even the fact that the cat was in there to begin with was that why don't you have animals in this movie? The movie's all about choice. Choosing, choice, choosing, right? well, that ain't much of a choice, is it? All that, right? Dude walked up around from having bought the ticket and turned and saw me. Like I bought the ticket. He comes around and he says this little thing. And all I could do was look around the lobby and say, there are too many. Well, I didn't say it out loud. I said it to myself inside. But I was like, there are too many people here. There is no safe way for me to kill this dude and get away with it here. So I went and did my thing, watched the movie, waited for him to leave before leaving. Of course, I got to watch the whole credits anyway. There are people in this world who have done me wrong. It is a choice when I don't seek revenge immediately. It is a choice. That guy was there with his daughter. Don't need to cause that kind of a problem. Lucky he had a human shield, huh? Choosing, choice, choosing. Much of a choice, huh? I was left with basically no choice all last winter. No choice but to work for the one place that didn't actually pay enough, but it was better than nothing until it was even worse than nothing. And then when I decided, fine, fuck it, nothing it is. And if you watch my videos in the last year, you know how I feel about these people. That hasn't really changed. It's not a forgiveness thing. You forgive people who have not only apologized, but learned the lesson and changed. If you forgive them and forget, it just opens them up to use you in the future. So, that's it. Don't know what to say. Kind of, moves into that territory of tread on those who tread on you. Some things in this world, people won't listen until you have to force them to listen. You have to teach a lesson, a hard learn. And some of these people aren't learning. And that guy was one of them. That scumfuck had the tenacity, the nerve, audacity, to speak to me at all. I was bitching about the fact that I hadn't got a job that I applied for with somebody that I'd known for over 20 years that built me up in the interview and then gave me this dumbass bullshit line before letting me walk out the door. And 2 posts after that, I post something about lawn care shit, mowing my lawn or whatever. Well, guess I'll do this. Here's the lawn mowing. That motherfucker clicks a like or a love to show support. But he had a $10 an hour, 40 to 50 hour a week job that he wouldn't hire me for. The real help that I needed, the real support that I needed. And I have been very vocal and outward about how I feel, how I was treated, and the people I feel are responsible. There's no way this guy doesn't know, and he still pretends to be nice. So I don't. And so okay, dear, let's move along. It was just funny, a movie about choice. That, I ended up having to be in the presence of someone like that. I know it happens. You're going to bump into people that you know. But, like I said, this dude, I think at this point he realized I was really not interested in a fucking pleasant conversation with him. And if there had been any conversation outside the place, all I would have said to him before walking my truck is, would that we had met alone in a dark alley. I'd be better. I'd be way better. So anyways, that's why this is unlisted, between this and the conversation about the whole Guardian Alter Agent collective subconscious thing, because that's very relevant to what's going on in the world too. So anyways, I'm going to end this here. I believe this will upload first. Like I said, it will be unlisted, and then it will be linked to through the first impression of the Matrix video tomorrow, which will be today if you're watching it tonight, yesterday.